in terms of there's the pay equity legislation, which my money's on the pay transparency legislation in terms of actually impacting change. We have lots of laws on the books that prohibit paying because of gender or because of race. What transparency has done, especially the salary range rules, David, you were in comp. I mean, there was a long time when those ranges simply were not shared. The ranges were to administer compensation. They were not designed for transparency. Suddenly now, with a couple of states essentially forcing anyone with a national footprint to rethink that, it's forced a lot of conversations between managers and their people about why they're paid what they're paid, also relative to peers. ZipRecruiter had great research that showed, the number 2 thing people look at in a job posting right after job title is the top of the range, right? So immediately everyone's an expert in their own pay. And so everyone's going to have a conversation with their leader, or there's going to be a lot of discussions with a leader about why is there so much distance between me and the top of the range for those organizations that haven't shared their ranges. And then people talk. And what we're seeing, though, with the transparency rules, and aside from the transparency legislation, there's also shareholders pushing for greater transparency. They're pushing for greater transparency of objective disclosures versus subjective. It used to be, and I agree with Margaret before, was said, you could make a performative, it was an audit mentality. You do it every couple of years and you could make a performative statement, I'm at 100% pay equity. Now the disclosures are focused more on objective disclosures. What is your adjusted pay gap? What is your median pay gap? And what that does is it forces a conversation out of legal and it brings the conversation to the communicators, the comms folks, and then senior leadership. Leaders have to stand in front of their people and explain things that they didn't before. And the reason I say my money is on the transparency rules is, when the Paycheck Fairness Act enforces penalties for doing wrong, that really drives the behavior into legal, I think, versus making it more of a leadership discussion. Leaders have to stand up in front of their people, explain why there's a pay gap, and then most importantly, what they plan to do about it.